You're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
We begin News 6 at 4 with breaking news. The roller coaster that was at the center of a death investigation will reopen tomorrow.
News 6 was the first to report Epic Universe's Stardust Racers will reopen tomorrow. Investigator Mike DeForest has been on top of this story. So, Mike, what is changing?
Well, Universal Orlando President Karen Irwin sent this letter to employees in just the last few hours announcing that the Stardust Racers roller coaster would be reopening tomorrow. In her letter, Irwin expresses sympathy and condolences to the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. Now, Rodriguez Zavala, who was born with spinal atrophy and uses a wheelchair, died more than 2 weeks ago after riding the Stardust Racers roller coaster here at Epic Universe. The medical examiner determined the cause of death was multiple blunt impact injuries. Now, since that incident 16 days ago, Universal Orlando's president says the company has conducted an extensive review of the roller coaster, which was observed by a state of Florida ride inspector. Irwin says the ride's manufacturer and an independent third-party roller coaster engineering expert also conducted their own on-site testing. Now, in her letter to employees, Irwin said, quote, "Our comprehensive technical and operational review confirmed the ride systems function properly throughout the boarding process, the duration of the ride, and upon the ride vehicle's return to the station, and our team members followed procedures throughout." To further assist guests in determining whether they can or cannot ride an attraction, we are updating operational procedures and attraction signage to reinforce existing ride warnings and physical eligibility requirements at Stardust Racers and other rides. Now, Irwin says safety is the top priority here at Universal Orlando. Now, the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, their attorney said that they are conducting their own investigation into his death. I reached out to them, but we have not heard their reaction to this announcement that the Stardust Racers roller coaster will be reopening tomorrow. Reporting live at Epic Universe, Mike DeForest, News 6. Back to you.
Mike, thank you again. We were the first to break this news on clickorlando.com. And if you have our News 6 app, you likely got an alert like this one sent to your phone. Our app is free. Search WKMG in your app store to find it. A live look at our camera in Daytona Beach now, and it's not just the rough surf we're dealing with out there. Volusia County is also under a flood watch.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joins us now. Jonathan, we've also been seeing some scattered showers once again today.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what they're going to continue to be, scattered throughout the course of the weekend, and it's the kind of addition of all these downpours that keep on streaming in off of the Atlantic. There is the flood watch again for us in Volusia County and Brevard County until Sunday morning, because we are going to be the recipients of the heaviest and the steadiest and the most widespread downpours throughout the course of the weekend. Certainly still run the risk of seeing a stray downpour to the west of Orlando, but that chance is going to be much, much lower. Certainly the heavier stuff over the last 3 days, and you can clearly see again the focal point here, mainly along into the east of I-4, picking up more than 2 inches of rain so far over the past 72 hours in Daytona Beach, a little more than a ½ inch in Kissimmee and Orlando. Same deal for us right along the Space Coast as well. We do have those downpours out there. We're going to be doing a little dodging for high school football tonight. Optimistic that the lightning stays away. We're going to talk much more about that coming up at about 4:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. This afternoon, people in Volusia County are nervous about the flood warnings, especially people who are still scarred from the last time something like this happened.
So right now, they are taking action. News 6's Darrell Baker is live in Daytona Beach with more on that. Darrell?
Yeah, now this area right here off of North Beach Drive, it is one of the areas that floods a lot during those storms. Now, there was flood that was actually calf deep water that was here yesterday, and also flooded and rained again today. You can see some of the puddles that are still here from this morning. That's why the business owner here in this area has placed sandbags right outside of his door just to make sure that they're ready.
The street becomes like a mini river. Down that way is probably already over the street.
Lori Wessick says that Halifax Road in Port Orange flooded again this morning, something homeowners see every time it rains.
Over here we have a seawall, so it keeps it down a little bit, but I'm just saying it's going to be a river.
And over in Daytona Beach near North Beach Street, fishing hole owner Mike Corley says that rainwater flooded the streets and got inside his store Thursday.
When we get the king tide, it comes up through the sewage and it kind of just overflows. When we get high tide, we get mixes with it, with all the rain we've been having, just overflows and fills up this whole block.
Now, more heavy rainfall is on its way this weekend. The National Weather Service placed Volusia County under a flood watch in effect until Sunday morning. It's why he's putting down sandbags and boards to cover entryways to prepare.
And the only thing I can do is sandbag and hope for the best.
It's pretty similar to what we saw last weekend. Again, we're going to see 1 to 3 inches of rain. Locally, we could see spots get up to 5 inches of rain.
Volusia County Emergency Management Director Clint Meekum says that crews are clearing drains, canals, and ditches while working with state and local partners to monitor conditions.
So hopefully it's not all going to come in like an hour or 30 minutes. It's spread out over a few days, and the systems are designed to take that kind of stress.
Now, when it comes to people going, they say that they want people just to make sure that they stay inside for this storm. Now, if you have to go somewhere and if you're traveling down a flooded street, just make sure that you're careful, that you're not pushing water into other businesses and also into other homes. It's actually what this business owner told us earlier today that happened with his business. Here in Volusia County, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
All right, Jarrell, thank you. And it's not just Volusia County. Flooding is a concern up and down the coast. That's why News 6's Tylisa Hampton is in Brevard County. Checking in with people who live there. We'll have her report coming up in the next half hour. And now is a good time to make sure to download our News 6 weather app. Our hurricane app is built in. It sends personalized weather alerts and gives you access to our radar. Just search WKMG in your app store. We want to take a live look now over our nation's capital, where the Senate has voted down a funding solution as the government shutdown enters day 3. And now the White House says layoffs could be imminent, but it has not given specifics about exact positions or programs they are targeting. CBS News correspondent Erica Brown has the latest.
The White House says layoffs of some federal workers are needed as the government shutdown continues.
Nobody wants to do that, but sometimes in government you have to make tough decisions.
The Trump administration is also targeting some Democratic-led cities and states during the shutdown. Earlier this week, the White House put a hold on $18 billion in funding for transit projects in New York. And Friday morning, Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought announced on social media that $2 billion in projects for Chicago is being frozen.
Russ Vought is doing what he's been tasked to do in the midst of this government shutdown, which is to look at funds that need to be temporarily halted or need to be canceled. And Chicago is just another example of that.
Friday, the Senate voted once again and failed to move forward with a short-term spending bill to fund the government until mid-November, extending the government shutdown.
The yeas are 54 and the nays are 44.
Republicans picked up 3 votes, but the bill still fell short of the 60 needed to advance the legislation. Most Democrats are holding out for an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies and a rollback of cuts to Medicaid.
I'm confident that it is a righteous fight to keep health care premiums from going up for tens of millions of families.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says discussions are underway with some Democrats to vote for the bill.
I don't know how many times you're going to give them a chance to vote no, and hopefully over the weekend they'll have a chance to think about it.
The next vote is not expected until Monday, which would be day 6 of the shutdown. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A live look now at New York City, where the sentencing hearing for Sean Diddy Combs has been going on throughout the afternoon. The music mogul has been waiting to learn his punishment today. Prosecutors are asking for Combs to be behind bars for more than 11 years, while his lawyers are requesting 14 months. In July, a jury found Combs guilty of 2 felonies related to prostitution. Combs was acquitted on the major charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Avoiding the possibility of life in prison, he's accused of orchestrating a criminal enterprise and forcing women into sex with escorts. His lawyers argue, though, the encounters were all consensual. At any moment, a judge is expected to decide just how long Combs will be in prison. As soon as that decision comes down, we will let you know. In less than 2 hours, people who live in Eatonville have a chance to get more clarity and give their input on an agreement. It will soon see ownership over the historic Hungerford School property transferred from Orange County Schools to Dr. Phillips Charities. Now, to get you up to speed on this, under the agreement, Dr. Phillips Charities will pay $1 million up front. Then the rest of the purchase price is forgiven as milestones are completed. They include things like a pavilion for festivals, an expanded green space, an early learning center with priority for local families and Hungerford Elementary staff members, and a community hub and healthcare facility. Now, the Orange County School Board voted unanimously on Tuesday to approve the sale of the 117-acre property that once housed the Hungerford School, a school for black students in the segregated South. The land is considered a cornerstone of Eatonville's identity and heritage. So the deal did not come without controversy, though. I spoke to the town's mayor ahead of Tuesday night's vote, where she shared that Dr. Phillips' track record gives her confidence that this is the right path.
We've had developers come for that land before, but their ideas were for them. It wasn't for the town. It didn't reflect the town, and it just needed a yes or no from the town. And now we have a 100-year organization with a proven record of helping and partnering with communities that are saying, hey, we'll get it done for you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
The goal of tonight's public meeting is to learn more about the agreement and what comes next. Again, the meeting starts at 6 o'clock and it runs until 8.
The fencing and scaffolding surrounding one of Daytona Beach's most recognizable structures is finally gone.
A closer look at what it took to restore this nearly 90-year-old landmark and secure its future for years to come.
And spooky fun, pumpkin patches, and family events coming up. We're taking a closer look at 6 things you and your family can do for fun this weekend.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
Happening today in Daytona Beach, a piece of history is getting new life.
City leaders cut the ribbon this morning on the restored Main Street Arch, a landmark that has stood for nearly 90 years. Your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada shows us how the community is celebrating its return.
The Main Street Arch has stood as a symbol of Daytona Beach for decades, and today city leaders say its restoration marks a big step in preserving history, but also securing the future.
2, 3, yay!
The arch was built during President Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal in 1936, but years of wear and tear left it cracking and deteriorating. This $934,000 project stabilized the concrete and preserved its original coquina stone.
This is the gateway to our community, and this is the most historic entryway to our beach. We realize that this beach has taken a battering, as well as our boardwalk. But we're working hard and we're looking for investors to come in and do the things that need to be done to take it to the next level.
Mayor Henry also telling us the city's in search of more entertainment to bring to the area. Commissioner Matt Reinhardt says the project is about preservation, not replacement.
When you think Volusia County, you think Daytona Beach. The fact that we're here to revitalize this area, it's not just a statue of sorts, it's a staple to the entrance of the beach.
For residents who have made memories here for years, the moment was personal. What does this mean to you, this iconic background? You almost seem like you're getting emotional. Why?
I am. It's just so nice to see it come back because we remember it before. We remember what's gone on.
City leaders encourage folks to come down the iconic Main Street to see it for yourself. This restoration means that the arch will keep welcoming tourists for decades. Reporting in Daytona Beach, I'm your Volusia County community correspondent, Angie Casada, News 6.
Very nice to see that.
All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. So how's this weekend looking? Is it going to be a beach weekend, Jonathan?
No, absolutely not.
Back to you.
Yeah, we're done. Take it away, guys. No, it's not going to be a total loss this weekend. The further west you are, the better weather you're going to see. At the beaches, though, even when it's dry, the surf is still going to be cranked up, courtesy of the onshore flow that we continue to have. The Atlantic still needs to settle down from the 2 hurricanes that we had out into the Atlantic. The wave heights still pretty big out there. The rip current risk is high. You can track the downpours through the weekend. Again, don't cancel any of your plans. It's not going to be a total loss. It'll be just like yesterday. It'll be just like today, where you get a quick hitting downpour, then the sun will come out for a little bit, then you might run the risk of another quick hitting downpour. Just like what we're seeing out here right now. There's the radar again going forward, and you see those downpours being generated right off the Atlantic. Kissimmee, we're doing some dodging right now. We have a couple of those downpours pushing toward Lake Helen into Deltona, coming off of Palm Coast tonight and parts of Flagler County, closer to Corona, just south of us in Bunnell tonight. So again, watching closely again for these downpours. The lightning threat should stay on the lower side. These are just run-of-the-mill, quick-hitting downpours. Could bring a flood threat, though, to the coast because that's where we've seen the repeated heavy rain over the past couple of days. So there's 7 o'clock on your Friday evening. Again, few and far between. Good news for high school football. Again, keep the umbrella handy. You're going to need it in spots, not everywhere again. And I'm optimistic that we wind down those rain chances a little bit through the evening. There's 6 o'clock on your Saturday morning. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So there's 11 o'clock. We have kind of a dose of heavy rain coming to the coast. Meanwhile, looking pretty good inland with just a mix of clouds and sunshine again, just like what we saw today. Another round pushes through for the afternoon into the evening. That's 5 o'clock with a few more downpours. So again, don't cancel your plans. Just have the opportunity to take it inside for a little bit. Rainfall forecast, we keep on showing you this. Again, the lighter amounts, the lower rainfall amounts west of Orlando because they are going to be few and far between the downpours. The more widespread stuff right along the coast, closer to the I-95 corridor and the Atlantic beaches. So it's going to be a little on the grayer side. In that direction for us along the I-95 corridor. Hurricane Center still has this little blob thing highlighted. I showed you this yesterday here. This is the reason why we have the wind coming out of the south, the north and east, just over the Bahamas, and then also that little swirl there. So this junk here, that's not the thing that's highlighted. The thing hasn't even formed yet. It could over the weekend and kind of lift back towards Florida. Regardless on if it does, it's not going to really change our forecast any. It's just going to continue to pump in some of that tropical moisture to get those scattered downpours going. Here's a live look outside with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam in downtown Orlando with a few of those downpours out there just outside of the Orlando metro area. We're back to the lower 80s. Still breezy. We're going to keep that breeze through the weekend as well. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
Rain chances as a whole, 60%. And while they're elevated, again, that does not mean it's going to rain all day. That's just your opportunity if you step outside and go around Central Florida to see one of those downpours. We're at 84 in Leesburg tomorrow, New Smyrna Beach. Good evening. We are at 82 degrees. And again, we're going to be just in and out of a few of those downpours, even with the higher rain chances. 60% shot for more downpours on Sunday. We're going to keep that elevated shot for those downpours as we continue to keep the breeze off of the Atlantic through the early stages of next work week, guys.
All right, Jonathan. Well, since it's not a beach weekend, we are trying to make it easy for you to find family-friendly activities for the weekend, even with those showers sticking around.
So meteorologist Michelle Morgan has 6 things you could explore right here in Central Florida. A live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
I'm meteorologist Michelle Morgan. Looking for something fun to do this weekend? Well, October kicks off. Spooky fun, pumpkin patches, and family events. Scattered downpours will be possible, but don't let that stop the fun. First up, check out Harvest Fields, Corn Maze, and Hayride in DeLand, Saturday from 10 a.m. through 6 p.m. $15 for unlimited access to the Corn Maze, Hayride, and more. Plus, Fields of Fright returns October 10th through the 25th, Fridays and Saturdays only. Paw Pals for Life 5K at Rock Springs Run State Reserve in Sorrento is happening on Saturday at 8:30 a.m. This in-person run supports pets and their humans, a pawsome event celebrating love, loyalty, and companionship. Head to Ocala for the 7th annual Marion County Parks and Rec Carnival. Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m. Free entry. Youth activity armbands just $5 or bring in 5 non-perishables. Enjoy hay rides, a petting zoo, haunted stalls, games, inflatables, and more. Plus, Orlando Museum of Art Family Day is Saturday from 11 a.m. through 2 p.m. Free for all ages. Enjoy storytelling, strolls, keepsake photos, Italian ice, and more. It's a great indoor event to beat the rain. Oktoberfest at the German American Society of Central Florida in Castleberry will be happening on Saturday from noon to 9 p.m. Make sure you have an umbrella. There will be German beer, food, flag parade, live music, and more. Looking for something spooky to do with the kids? Boo at the Zoo at Brevard County kicks off this weekend, every weekend in October from 10 a.m. through 3 p.m. Now, those are your 6 things to do, and if you have a fun event happening in your town this weekend, send it my way. I've been getting so many cool events from viewers like you. Just head over to clickorlando.com or our new 6 app. Just click Contact Us.
Well, flood watches along our coast, what people living and working in the warned areas can expect, and what they're doing right now to prepare. Plus,
finally, some judges got it right.
A major ruling by a Florida court could change the way law enforcement initiates searches for drugs.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
Starting with some breaking news, Epic Universe is set to reopen Stardust Racers roller coaster as soon as tomorrow. This comes about 3 weeks after the death of a man who rode the roller coaster last month. According to an internal letter released today, Universal Orlando's president extended her condolences to the loved ones of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala and announced the coaster would reopen Saturday afternoon.
Eatonville is set to hold a public meeting tonight. It comes after an agreement to transfer ownership of the historic Hungerford School property from Orange County Public Schools to Dr. Phillips Charities. The Orange County School Board voted unanimously on Tuesday to approve the sale of the 117-acre property. Tonight's public meeting starts at 6 and goes until 8.
And with all the heavy rain rolling in this weekend, the National Weather Service placed Volusia County under a flood watch until Sunday morning. Some areas are already seeing flooding impacting yards and local businesses. And Volusia is not the only county under a flood watch. Brevard County is as well. News 6's Tylisa Hampton is in Mims.
Several people in Brevard County tell me they are no stranger to bad weather, but when it comes to the possibility of flooding, they say they get that same sinking feeling.
It's the creeping feeling of flooding that has some on edge.
Whenever you know it's going to be bad weather coming, inside, emotionally, how does that make you feel?
Emotionally, I'm very concerned. I've got anxiety, and my anxiety picks up.
As the wind picks up this weekend, heavy rain and dangerous beach conditions are expected. Brevard and Volusia County going under a flood watch until Sunday morning.
How do you feel about this weekend's upcoming projected bad weather?
Well, I think we're ready for it, but I don't know how bad it's gonna flood. The last time we had one, it flooded, and we could not get out of the house. And I have a disabled person that I take care of.
The unbearable floodwater Audrey Schmidt, who lives at the Patio Motel, is now thinking about again.
But if it goes past my knee, forget it. I can't stay here. And that's my main concern. If it keeps going higher and higher and higher.
Others in the neighborhood also on alert.
If it's like completely flooded in, then I just need to make sure that I'm getting my resources beforehand. I get some canned goods, simple things to eat.
Stocking up on what they can, Audrey says just picking up and moving is not simple.
I have nowhere else to go. I can't afford anything else higher than what I'm paying now.
Hoping Mother Nature won't sweep away her life again.
I mean, I have everything in here. This is my home, and I do not want to lose it again.
Audrey and other people in the community tell me they're hoping that this bad weather does not happen. They say hopefully all of that just passes right over them. Reporting in Brevard County, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
You could just feel that woman's anxiety grow, and you know why, too. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now, and we talked about those warnings being in place until Sunday morning at least.
Yeah, we're going to watch kind of these waves of heavy rain. I don't think we're going to see anything like what we saw the last round where we had that steady rain coming through. These are going to be more kind of scattered, although the opportunity for some minor flooding, the highest in this yellow shaded color, that's a level 2 out of 5 there on the excessive rainfall outlook, because we are going to have the sporadic rainfall over areas that have already been pretty wet over the last couple of days. That's the reason why we are in a flood watch in Volusia County, in Brevard County. Certainly we're not immune to scattered downpours the further west you are, but certainly the rain is going to be a little bit lighter and the downpours are going to be few and far between as we move into the weekend. The radar again scanning the skies. There's nothing too terribly heavy out there right now, but we are watching again the progression of these downpours moving in from the Atlantic. High school football night, going to be watching closely again tonight for a few downpours. I'm not anticipating any kind of lightning, so just going to have to deal with a few downpours again in some of the games this evening. We'll talk much more about that coming up at about 4:47, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. After a packed meeting last night, leaders in Palm Bay will now start the process of removing a member of the council.
I urge this council to pursue his removal by every legal means necessary. Thank you. Thank you. I have 1 second, Bob.
Now, we've been telling you how leaders are speaking out against the councilman's controversial social media post. News 6's Mark Lehman shows us what happened during the heated council meeting and what's next.
People made their voices heard with a big turnout Thursday night. Nearly 80 spoke out, with many of them being of Indian descent. A handful supported Langevin, saying he's exercising his free speech, but the vast majority are rejecting the councilman's remarks and asking for his removal.
Let's get rid of this cancer.
Palm Bay residents crowding the council chambers last night to direct comments towards Councilman Chandler Langevin.
Maybe you should stop carrying around your hate, your racism, and your white supremacy.
The council taking up a vote to ask Governor DeSantis to suspend the councilman over his comments disparaging Indian American immigrants. It was early this week when Langevin posted a message on social media saying there is not a single Indian that cares about the United States. They are here to exploit us financially.
Brother, that comment, it hurts my soul.
Mayor Rob Medina, along with the rest of the council, rejecting the comments, Langevin seeming to walk back some of the remarks in a post last night, saying his words were directed at illegal immigrants, but during the meeting, he was also defiant.
Quite frankly, as long as I'm not breaking the law, I'll say whatever I damn well please.
In the end, the council approved the measure.
Motion passes 4-1.
Along with some parting words from the mayor.
I hope that the governor deports you out of these chambers and out of that door.
Langevin was the single vote against the measure last night. The city attorney will now draft a letter to the governor asking him to remove the councilman. The council will also request State Senator Debbie Mayfield file a complaint to formally censure Langevin. Mark Lehman, News 6.
Governor DeSantis is renaming part of a Pinellas County trail in honor of late pro wrestler Hulk Hogan. He made that announcement during a press conference at a restaurant in Clearwater called Hogan's Hangout. DeSantis says the 2-mile stretch of the Clearwater Trail will be called the Hulk Hogan Trail and will have red and yellow exercise stations to allow people to train along the trail like Hogan. Hogan died in July from a heart attack at his Clearwater home. He was 71 years old.
A major decision by a Florida court could overhaul the way law enforcement officers initiate vehicle searches. Appellate judges in the 2nd District in Tampa now say the smell of marijuana is not enough on its own to search anyone's car for illegal drugs and firearms. Now, this all hinges from a 2023 Hillsborough County case. A deputy said he smelled marijuana after pulling over Darielle Williams, who was on probation at the time. Marijuana and ecstasy were found, and Williams went back to prison. But on appeal, judges overturned his conviction, saying for pot, quote, its mere odor can no longer establish that it is immediately apparent that the substance is contraband because it could be legally prescribed.
If they're lawfully able to transport it, it shouldn't be the basis alone to be able to actually effectuate a search on a vehicle.
And what do you say to people who say we shouldn't take these tools away from law enforcement? We should give them the ability to find things that are illegal.
It's asking law enforcement, it's like, hey, we need a bit more. We're not asking for too much. The court is saying plain smell is not enough. And by doing so, it's like, okay, based on your training experience, what else do you have?
This case now goes to the Florida Supreme Court, which could reverse the ruling. A reminder, medical use of marijuana is legal in Florida. Recreational cannabis, though, remains illegal and can lead to criminal charges, including jail time.
All right, we have to talk about Taylor Swift now because her brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl, officially dropped at midnight.
And it is all anyone of a certain generation is talking about today.
Right.
Okay, these people you see here are definitely Swifties. They were out last night at the Target on State Road 436 in Altamont Springs, hours before midnight, all for exclusive vinyl and CD editions of that album. Meantime, in honor of her album, the Oviedo Mall is hosting a day dedicated to the singer. Whether it's with a sip of lavender haze lemonade or making friendship bracelets, Oviedo Mall will be an enchanted place for Swifties.
I liked her music, but was never like a huge fan. But you go to her concert, and it was probably the best concert I've ever been to in my life. It's just totally entertaining. And then you read about her and how good she is to her crew, and just, she's just something else.
What's not to love, right? For fans who need even more, for the next 3 days, movie theaters are showing the music video for The Fate of Ophelia, plus behind-the-scenes footage of that shoot.
Well, it may not feel like it just yet, but it is fall and it's October, which means it is Oktoberfest in Castleberry this weekend. They've been doing it there for more than half a century. Your Castleberry community correspondent Alex Cook checks it out.
It's time to bust out your best lederhosen or dirndl because Saturday is Oktoberfest here at the German American Society of Central Florida in Castleberry. It runs from noon to 9, and there will be plenty of German food, live German music, and of course, plenty of German beer. The organizers here say it's fun for the whole family, whether you know anything about German culture or not.
We've been doing Oktoberfest since 1963. We are the original, traditional Oktoberfest. It's like being in Munich.
Linda Rosell is the president of the German American Society of Central Florida. They've been celebrating Oktoberfest here since 1963 and serve thousands every year.
We have Jaeger Schnitzel, we have brats, we have pretzel rolls, strudel, everything that people want to eat that's German food, we have it. Authentic Schublattler dancing with our own troupe, the Alpenrose group, and non-stop entertainment with great German music.
Outside, a traditional German beer garden, more live music.
Plus a very large kids area. So when parents come here, the kids get the kids area and parents can have a beer.
Oktoberfest started as a wedding celebration in Germany, but soon became an annual party. They celebrate it in September these days, so it's not too cold. Not a problem at this event.
We in Florida, we don't need to shift it to September. We have a very good weather now.
Yeah, we could have Novemberfest or Decemberfest.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's always fun. Yes.
For Manfred Schulze, in charge of the adult beverages at the festival, it's a way to connect with his German roots.
I like the American life, right? And of course, but I don't want to forget where I'm coming from.
But he doesn't think a German connection is necessary to enjoy it.
It's not boring, traditional, old school. It is more a little bit modern, and we try to entertain whoever comes. And it doesn't matter if they like German culture or not, they probably like German beer.
I'm your Castleberry community correspondent, Alex Cook. News.
Well, even though much of the government is shut down, the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex is open, and the Taste of Space Food Festival kicked off today. News 6 got a glimpse of the Fall Bites lineup. There's also some special events happening during the festival, including the Taste of Space Celebrity Chef Edition, which celebrates 25 years aboard the International Space Station. Retired astronaut Winston Scott, who flew on the space shuttle Endeavour and Columbia, shared inside stories about food in space.
It's all dehydrated. So, for example, if I want scrambled eggs for breakfast, I will take out the scrambled egg packet, and there's just this little glob of yellow stuff in there. There's a label, scrambled eggs, 3 minutes hot, whatever. You reinsert the water from a machine, a rehydration station, and then the stuff begins to fill up and expand, and it looks like what it's supposed to be, scrambled eggs.
That's crazy. So we have the full lineup of food and events and a web story on clickorlando.com. While you're there, sign up for the free In the Loop Theme Park Scoops newsletter. You can get the latest theme park news sent right to your email. That's at clickorlando.com/newsletters.
Well, they are nowhere near old enough to drive,
but they're getting a crash course in traffic safety.
If we start building this connection at an early age, then it should reach all the way up.
The critical lessons being taught on the playgrounds of some Florida elementary schools.
The music is newer. There's dance moves that you definitely didn't see back in the day. There are a lot of things.
But first, Broadway is back in Orlando. We're hearing from the actors who play The Wiz in The Wicked Witch, the musical The Wiz. That's next.
Now, some breaking news right now. We have been told after an entire day of deliberation, Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to 50 months in prison. That happened just moments ago inside a New York courtroom. According to CNN, Combs addressed the court hearing and said his, quote, actions were disgusting, shameful, and sick. I was sick from drugs. I was out of control. End quote. In July, a jury found Combs guilty of 2 felonies related to prostitution. Combs was acquitted on the major charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, avoiding the possibility of life in prison. Again, he has been sentenced to 50 months behind bars.
Broadway is back. The Wiz is at the Dr. Phillips Center now through Sunday. I'm News 6 producer Brooke Savage. I have Alan Mingo here. He plays the Wiz in the show, and Kyla Jade plays Eveline. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
So first off, tell us, what can people expect? How is your show different from the original Broadway show and the movie?
Well, for us, we decided for this new version was to combine both the movie and the original Broadway show. So we like to call this one more of a reimagining for its 50th year anniversary.
I will have to say, I feel like I haven't seen a show with this many, very powerful singers. I don't know if you guys noticed this while you're singing, but several times throughout the show, no matter who is singing, people are clapping whenever you guys really hit those high notes.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. The way that I can say is it's the African American experience. And so all of us grew up with this kind of experience in some part of our lives. Mm-hmm. And most of the time it was church. It was our family dinners. It was we sing, we laugh, we joke. So you get invited into an African American experience when you come to the Wiz.
Is there anything else you want to bring up about the show?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, we'll be there all week. Mm-hmm. And so we need everyone to come and see us. We'll be there until Sunday night. And there's a special for students.
Yes, we have 2 hours before the show. There are $35 rush tickets. So you need to come out 2 hours before the show.
Get all your students $35 tickets.
Hey.
And we want everyone, bring your parents, bring your children. This is a show for family. Yes. So have a family night and come see us, and we'll be happy to have you.
You'll walk out singing the songs.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Well, like Alan and Kyla just mentioned, I posted all that ticket information on clickorlando.com/settingthestage. In this podcast studio, Brooke Savage, News 6.
Okay, so both Brooke and I were there on opening night. It was fantastic.
I have not seen it, and I really, really need to see if they have some tickets for Saturday.
I'm sure they do. The set designs, everything's so colorful. As she noted, the music was incredible. The singers were incredible. Also, my review is available on clickorlando.com. You just got a little piece of it there. For the latest theater, arts, and entertainment news, check out the Setting the Stage newsletter. Just go to clickorlando.com/newsletter to subscribe. One woman told me this is the first show in a long time that her husband hasn't fallen asleep during the show.
Wow, that's a ringing endorsement right there.
Yes.
All right. Turning to our forecast now, maybe a good time to see a show at the Dr. Phillips Center, because meteorologist Jonathan Kega says it is definitely not a beach weekend.
It is not. I mean, it's going to be fine at times along the beach, but it's still going to be dangerous to get into the water. We'll be in and out of those scattered downpours, just like what we've seen for the past couple of days. To track those downpours tomorrow, if you have outdoor plans, you're going to get alerts on your phone. If there's rain in your area, certainly if there's some lightning as well. Not anticipating too much in the way of lightning, but there are those scattered downpours that continue to work in from east to west, from the Atlantic inland. Again, you're going to be drier this weekend the further west you are of the Atlantic Ocean. Game tonight, Edgewater at Winter Park, kickoff at 7 o'clock. Rain chances, they're not zero, but they're not sky high either. About 20% by 6 o'clock. I think most of the game we're going to see partly cloudy skies, but temperature-wise, we're back to the middle 70s. So again, should be a pretty nice night. Just keep the rain gear handy, as there will still be a few of these downpours pushing through. There's 5 o'clock this evening. Again, watching out the rest of the evening, just a few of those downpours again moving in off of the Atlantic. And this is what I'm talking about. Not a total loss this weekend by any means. If you have plans outside, don't cancel them. Please don't cancel them. The unsettled stretch of weather that is going to help to generate these downpours will continue. But just like today, just like yesterday, there will be breaks in the action again where you'll see some sunshine, especially in interior Central Florida. That's 6 o'clock on your Saturday. Still some scattered downpours around. That 11 o'clock tonight, there goes another push. So again, there will be breaks in between these scattered downpours. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Rain chances at 60% tomorrow, especially closer to the coast. We're at 84 in Mount Dora, 84 in Kissimmee. And again, that's more like 20 to 30% the further west you are toward I-75 again tomorrow. Live look at Daytona Beach. And again, there will be scenes like this weekend where there's some blue sky breaking free. It's the surf that makes it not the greatest beach weekend. And again, we're going to be in and out of those downpours throughout the course of the weekend. We're at 82 degrees. The breeze still stiff out of the east at about 15 miles an hour, and that's going to be something that we keep through the weekend as well. 60% shot for downpours both Saturday and Sunday. We'll add some lightning back into the mix as we move into Monday. 50% shot for more storms on Tuesday. We'll be right back.
A Florida elementary school is teaching road safety on the playground.
Duval County schools are introducing what they're calling traffic gardens. They are scaled down interactive setups where kids can practice real world traffic scenarios. They take turns acting as cars, using hula hoops, and as pedestrians learning how to navigate the streets safely.
If we start building this connection at an early age, then it should reach all the way up. And I don't think that it's something that should ever get untied.
Like to be careful and do good stuff and like walk careful.
What were you learning today?
I was learning about making sure you're not distracted by anything when you're walking through the traffic.
This program comes amid an increase in crashes involving e-bikes. According to Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children, doctors have seen more than 90 patients this year.
How can we sign some adults up for this course?
We could all use it.
Exactly. News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, breaking news from Epic Universe. The Stardust Racers roller coaster set to reopen. Up next, the new letter that we first reported on that will highlight some of the changes guests can be expecting. Plus, a case of excessive force in Palm Bay. What a former deputy chief is saying about an incident involving a pregnant woman, her car, and a broken window during a traffic stop. Now at 5, an Epic Universe roller coaster is reopening less than a month after a death at the park. The letter News 6 reported first, sent to employees highlighting the changes people will see.
I'm really focused on really telling voters about this background of leadership, getting results, and if you're going to fix tomorrow's problems.
The former Florida House Speaker throwing his hat in the ring for governor in a one-on-one interview with News 6. He opens up about his determination to win back the trust from one of his biggest former supporters. Plus, a short bloom provides a long-term impact in Seminole County. The yearly flowers on Lake Jessup that are proof of a healthy floodplain. You're watching News 6 at 5.
We continue with our breaking news out of Epic Universe. In a letter we first brought you just hours ago from park leadership to employees, the Stardust Racers roller coaster will reopen this weekend.
And this comes less than a month after the death of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, who died after riding that coaster. The letter highlights some changes Universal is making to guest experiences. Our News 6 investigator Mike DeForest was the first to get a hold of documents like this, and he is live for us. Mike?
Well, Matt, this is the letter that Universal Orlando president Karen Irwin sent to her employees earlier today, announcing the reopening of Stardust Racers, the roller coaster. It's going to happen tomorrow. In this letter, Irwin expresses sympathy and condolences to the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. Now, Rodriguez Zavala was born with a spinal atrophy, and he uses a wheelchair. He died more than 2 weeks ago after riding the Stardust Racers roller coaster here at Epic Universe. The medical examiner determined the cause of death was multiple blunt impact injuries. Now, since that incident 16 days ago, Universal Orlando's president says the company has conducted an extensive review of the coaster, which was observed by a state of Florida ride inspector. Now, Irwin says the ride's manufacturer and an independent third-party roller coaster engineering expert also conducted their own on-site testing. In her letter to employees, Irwin said, quote, "Our comprehensive technical and operational review confirmed the ride systems functioned properly throughout the boarding process, the duration of the ride, and upon the ride vehicle's return to the station, and our team members followed procedures throughout. To further assist guests in determining whether they can or cannot ride an attraction, we are updating operational procedures and attraction signage to reinforce existing ride warnings and physical eligibility requirements at Stardust Racers and other rides." Now, Irwin says safety is top priority here at Universal Orlando. Now, earlier this week, we heard from attorneys representing Rodriguez Zavala's family. They say they're conducting their own investigation into his death. I have reached out to them, but we have not yet heard their thoughts on the fact that Stardust Racers roller coaster is scheduled to reopen here tomorrow. Reporting live at Epic Universe, Mike DeForest, News 6. Back to you.
Mike, thank you. Time to check your weather. We have Jonathan Kegas, our meteorologist, standing by. And Jonathan, some folks are seeing some rain on this Friday.
Yeah, certainly not on this look, though. And this is going to be the theme of the weekend there. So you take a live look at Daytona Beach. There's going to be downpours like what we saw the last couple of days, and then we'll see some sunshine. So it's not going to be an all-day rain for everybody. I think a lot of us are going to get into the downpours and then take a break. And certainly the further west you are of the Atlantic Ocean, for us along the I-75 corridor, I think the drier we're going to be, we may not even see any downpours at all. So here we go with the radar picture. We have more streaming in. So again, especially the high school football games tonight to the east of I-4, and then also in between I-75 and I-95, especially north of Orlando. That's going to be our best opportunity to see those downpours. I'm optimistic that these are not going to contain any lightning tonight. There's a 20% shot for downpours through 7 o'clock. We'll see that kind of fade a little bit deeper into the evening, and then we'll do it again tomorrow morning. Pretty much a repeat performance, what we've seen over the past couple of days. We're going to break that down further. I'll show you future radar to plan out your weekend coming up at about 5:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. An officer breaks a car window, then hits a pregnant woman who drove away during a traffic stop in Brevard County. And now a former deputy chief calls that incident excessive force. Tonight, your Palm Bay community correspondent James Barbero discovered this officer has faced questions about excessive force before.
It was Officer Sean Rollins that is seen on video choking and striking a handcuffed pregnant black female.
So after Thursday night, when this former deputy police chief raised concerns of excessive force during an arrest to the city council, I came to the police department to request that body camera that Lance Fisher was talking about. In June, the police report of Tamara Hatcher reached she was pulled over for driving without insurance, but she refused to get out of the car. Then, Officer Sean Rollins used his baton to break her window, but Hatcher drove away. The report reached she was speeding and driving on the wrong side of the road to pass other cars.
He busted the window out. She got scared and drove off.
Friday, I interviewed Hatcher's boyfriend at the house she drove to, where Courtney Newton says Officer Rollins caught up to her and put his hands on her. The police report reads Hatcher continued resisting.
Kicked in the door, slammed her to the ground, putting his thumb into her throat and hitting her. My son is, 17. He's yelling and screaming. She's pregnant.
I found other incidents of force that Officer Rollins has been involved in his career. In 2021, the AP reported Officer Rollins was fired from the Columbia, South Carolina Police Department after using force on at least 8 people within 5 months. Then in 2023, he got in trouble working at the Mascot Police Department. This lawsuit filed in Lake County in April alleges Officer Rollins tased a man while falsely accusing him of resisting arrest. So when you looked into more of the officer's history, how did that make you feel?
Just finding out all the stuff that he has done, it's like, why does he still work as a police officer? That's kind of scary.
The police didn't want to be interviewed for this story, but they did tell me they reviewed Officer Rollins' actions and found they were justified. I also got an update on my request for the body camera video. They tell me they'll send it to me next week. As soon as we get the video, we'll add it to this story on clickorlando.com. Our website is where you can also read the full arrest report. In Brevard County, I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Thank you, James. Investigators need help identifying a shooter at a high school party. It happened last weekend at a bonfire celebrating Forest High School's homecoming in Ocala. Police believe the guy in this picture went to the party and shot at someone during the fight. Now, no one was hurt, but several people saw what happened. If you recognize this guy in the picture, call the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
The popular online gaming website Roblox is facing 2 new lawsuits, including one from a family in Brevard County. The family behind the suit claims their daughter was groomed, then sexually exploited by a predator posed as a child online. It's being filed by a Philadelphia-based law firm who's also representing an Illinois family who says their daughter was lured away from home and sexually battered. Both suits accuse the website of enabling environments where children can be targeted. Roblox has not commented on the lawsuits, but has said in the past it puts substantial resources into preventing inappropriate behavior.
Nearly a dozen people are taken to the hospital after a scare at a recycling plant in Brevard County. This happened last night at the waste management facility on Townsend Road in Cocoa. Firefighters tell us several workers started complaining about respiratory issues. 7 had to be taken to the hospital. The hazmat team was called in. They didn't find anything, so they think whatever it was may have dissipated into the air.
In results 2026, the race for Florida governor is heating up.
News 6's Justin Warmoth sat down with former Florida House Speaker Paul Renner, who announced his campaign 1 month ago today and is now trying to win the support of Ron DeSantis.
As Speaker of the Florida House, Central Florida Representative Paul Renner carried just about every part of Governor DeSantis' agenda across the finish line. Now, as Renner makes his bid for governor, the governor he once served is not backing his campaign.
I'm not supporting Paul Renner. You know, I think it was an ill-advised decision to enter the race.
As someone who's been an ally of the governor's, how did that make you feel?
Well, it's not about feelings. Look, I mean, you can't separate the governor's legacy from mine as Speaker, certainly from the legislative standpoint, and eventually I'm confident he'll support us either before or after the nomination.
Do you know what was behind that at all? Is it
you'd have to ask him.
Yeah. I mean, you probably have thoughts. I mean, Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins is also rumored to run and join into this primary. Do you think that has something to do with it?
It could well, but you'd have to ask the governor. And I'm really focused on really telling voters about this background of leadership, getting results. And if you're going to fix tomorrow's problems, which is what this election will ultimately be about, you want somebody who's helped fix yesterday's problems and taken on challenges that people said couldn't be solved, and we've solved them.
As for those challenges, the state's unaffordability is a central focus of Renner's campaign. And like the governor, he wants to see property tax reform and possibly eliminate the tax.
We have places here in Florida that have had astronomical increases in property tax, well beyond, and this is the point really, is beyond people's income to keep up. Government should never grow faster than our income to pay for it.
Renner was also instrumental in passing the legislation that expanded school choice. Critics of the voucher program say that's led to a drop in enrollment and in turn, a drop in funding for public schools. But Renner says that's a false narrative.
So in my home county of Flagler, they said, well, there's 2,000 students that have disappeared. We ran the numbers. 128 of those were using the scholarship. So it's really other things. Maybe they're homeschooling. Maybe they've moved out. Maybe they've chosen other paths.
Right.
But I don't see that, and for taxpayers, every student pays on average, taxpayers pay on average about $15,000 per student. The scholarship's only $8,000. So literally, if a student is leaving a public school of those 128 and going over to a private school, there's a huge tax savings.
Now, Renner is also on board with the state's immigration policy and the push to drop vaccine mandates for kids, making it clear he plans to run the state similar to Governor DeSantis, even though DeSantis isn't backing him. Justin Mormuth, News 6.
Other major candidates running for governor next year include Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who already has an endorsement from President Trump, and former Congressman David Jolly, who is running as a Democrat. Well, it is not just a pretty sight.
Yeah, flowers on Lake Jessup are providing crucial information to wildlife experts. They look nice, too. Next at 5, we head to the floodplain, where a short-lived bloom is proving long-term results.
Plus, communities across Central Florida are embracing Breast Cancer Awareness Month, how Orlando is providing crucial help for veterans, and a look at a not often talked about aspect, men's breast cancer. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Lake Jessup is the largest lake in Seminole County with a reputation for a lot of alligators.
But community correspondent Paul Giorgio shows us there's another phenomenon around the lake. It only happens once a year, and it is uniquely Central Florida.
Few things can beat a day out on an airboat.
Right up here on the right-hand side, I don't know which way y'all came in from, but you might have noticed there's a huge patch of sunflowers in bloom right up here on the right. But
especially when you can see views like this.
Isn't it beautiful?
Gorgeous.
Yeah. There's just hundreds, if not thousands, of acres of them in bloom this time of year.
My tour guide for the day is Graham Williams.
So we're going to get further up into the floodplain where it's slightly shallower and it opens up into an expansive floodplain marsh.
He's talking about something unique to Central Florida, the annual bloom of the swamp sunflower.
It's always right around October 1st. You know, they're incredibly synchronized. Right around the 1st of October, they all bloom at once. And you've got about a 2 or 3 week window when they're all blooming, and then they'll set seed and senesce and die, and they're gone again until next year. So it's only a short period of time that it's like this.
Williams is a land manager with the St. Johns River Water Management District, so he's out on these waters on a regular basis. But he'll tell you this.
Oh, I love coming out here. This is my favorite time of year on Lake Jessup, for sure.
Is the time of year he looks forward to most.
So my viewers can see how beautiful it is out here, but they can't smell it.
Mm-hmm.
It smells, you could smell them.
Right. Yeah, there's quite a fragrance, and the breeze is bringing it right to us right now, too. Sort of sweet fragrance that is in the air. It's just like overwhelming right now.
The plants thrive in the shallow water that makes up much of the floodplain around the lake and river system.
This waterway is more than beautiful vistas and bright sunflowers. It provides an important role in Central Florida.
Absolutely, yeah. The St. Johns River Basin in general has an expansive floodplain, but especially around Lake Jessup, there's a lot of very low-lying areas around the lake, so that provides natural floodplain storage, after big major flood events, and protect, downstream areas from flooding.
And to give those lucky enough a postcard view to remember. In Seminole County, Paul Giorgio, News 6.
I've gone out so many times at a black hammock. Never around October 1st.
You have to hit that exact
is the time
2
to
weeks.
go.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Don't try to swim out there, though.
Absolutely not.
Tyrannosaurus Rex will get you out there.
And if you try to go this weekend, you may be dodging some showers. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas standing by, tracking that kind of, that yellow blob behind you that could be creating a little bit of problems for us this weekend.
Yeah, I think the bark worsened its bite if you see this on the map for sure. I don't think this is going to develop, but I want to show you why it is highlighted. And you see this cluster of thunderstorms north of the Turks and Caicos, east of the Bahamas. That's going to continue to drift north. It's this little swirl, if you look closely at your TV screen. We have the winds coming out of the north and east, north of that system, and then the winds coming out of the south and east, just to the south of it. It gets a little swirl there. There's no thunderstorm activity with it. It has a small potential to kind of get some thunderstorms around it. Regardless, though, it's helping to pump in some extra tropical moisture to aid in the downpours. Again, you can track the downpours that we get going this weekend with the free News 6 weather app. The weather's going to look like a lot like today and yesterday, so it's not going to be a total loss by any means. Just be on the lookout that we will have downpours pushing through from east to west off of the Atlantic Ocean. There we go with our current radar. And again, we certainly have things through Seminole County right now, mainly north of Apopka, north of Orlando tonight. We do have a couple of downpours hanging around Four Corners and into Kissimmee, trying to dry things out along the coast. Again, these are going to try to fizzle out over the next couple of hours. Pretty optimistic about high school football tonight. There will still be a stray downpour in the forecast. Nonetheless, though, they will be waning tonight, and I don't think there's going to be any lightning involved in these tonight as well. They're 7 to 8 o'clock, exactly what I'm talking about. Stray downpour still trying to push on through, and this is going to be the theme of the weekend. Higher opportunity for rain along the coast, lower opportunity for rain closer to the I-75 corridor. There are those scattered downpours that come in. That's 1 o'clock on your Saturday afternoon. Again, nice dose of rain coming through. But then we take a break, and that's exactly what we had yesterday, exactly what we had today, and the same kind of deal again tomorrow. So the free News 6 weather app, great tool to kind of plan your outdoor plans in between these downpours that come through. There's a nice live look, Port Canaveral, Brevard County, with our Launch Credit Union camera this evening. Air temperatures back in the lower 80s. The breeze still elevated at about 15 to 20 miles an hour, especially along the coast. We are going to keep the wind cranked up a little bit. There we go through Saturday morning, and you see in that 25 to 30 mile per hour ballpark. That's through Saturday afternoon. They'll try to back off a little bit as we move into Sunday, but still gusty for us along the coast, still breezy inland with the wind gusts again of about 25 to 30 miles an hour just right along the coast as we move into tomorrow. The rainfall forecast, again, it tells the story here. The further west you are, you see the lighter green colors. Those are the lower rain chances. Again, lower rainfall amounts there on the ledge in the top corner of your screen. Where you see the yellows and oranges, that is where we're going to focus some of the heavier rainfall coming through because the downpours are being generated as that wind blows across the Atlantic and kind of forces everything and focuses everything closer to the coast. Here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Rain chances back to 60%, air temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Again, that focal point going to be the 60% shot anyway, mainly along to the east of I-4. 40% shot for downpours, again, right around Orlando, and then a 30% chance the further west you are. So again, broke it down so that the drier weather, again, certainly going to focus west of Orlando. 60% shot, though, for downpours as we continue into Sunday.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
And we're talking about something that most people don't talk about. Up next, to look at the rare cases of a disease that is often forgotten about. We're talking about male breast cancer.
Your weekend evening traffic alert. Listen, you're going to have the same stuff we see during the week. Watch out for the lane closures Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night along I-4 between the Turnpike and 528. Southern portions of the Turnpike will also see lane closures south of US 192, and then the lane closures along I-95 south of 192 out in Brevard. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you Monday morning.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Orlando is helping the cause. The Department of Veterans Affairs in Lake Nona held its annual breast cancer awareness event this afternoon, bringing out dozens of people decked out in pink. Before the walk, the VA gave out information on detection, prevention, and treatment.
Well, it's a disease that strikes mainly women, but doctors say people need to understand it can also happen to men.
Many men are diagnosed with advanced breast cancer because there are no recommended screenings for them. Stephanie Stahl introduces us to a male breast cancer survivor who's getting the word out.
Juan Namnan, the baseball coach at Frankfurt High School, is also a breast cancer patient.
Shock. It's hard to put in words when you hear, I'm sorry to tell you this, there's no easy way, you have cancer. I knew very little about it. I knew, and It never crossed my mind.
The 47-year-old father of 3 ended up having a double mastectomy.
It was the hardest thing I ever had to do, emotionally and physically.
He says months of physical therapy were torture when simple activities were painful.
It took so much muscle mass out, steering wheel, hold an umbrella, things of that nature. So life has been a huge challenge, but I'm on my way back.
Coach is in a rare group of about 2,800 men who are diagnosed with breast cancer each year, just 1% of all cases.
I think most men are relatively unaware that they can get breast cancer.
Virtua Health breast surgeon Lori Timmerman says men need to check themselves because there are no screening guidelines.
So usually it's a change to your breast tissue, either thickening of the nipple areolar complex, a nodule in your breast tissue or in your chest area. It's something that's there and then doesn't go away.
Coach Namnen is now taking chemotherapy drugs and relieved to be back at the ballpark.
Tell us your record.
I have had the distinction of being the quote-unquote winningest baseball coach in the history of Philadelphia with 8 championships.
The coach is also working on raising awareness about male breast cancer with a special baseball event to help crush cancer.
I'm so proud of all the work you're doing.
With his wife, his high school sweetheart, supporting his cancer fight. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Good to keep in mind. We have much more coming up on News 6 at 5, including a Palm Bay councilman voted off.
Yeah, it's a story we've been following all week now. Up next, the reaction from other council members from a heated meeting and what's going on next as the governor weighs the decision to officially remove him.
Plus, as the government shutdown enters day 3, many people are asking if they will be impacted. We spoke to an expert about what you should do. Here's a live look at Daytona Beach. You're watching News 6. Keep it right here. We'll be right back.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories right now, including Epic Universe set to reopen its centerpiece roller coaster, Stardust Racers, as soon as tomorrow. This comes about 3 weeks after the death of a man who rolled the roller coaster last month. According to an internal letter released today, Universal Orlando's president extended her condolences to the loved ones of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala and announced the coaster would reopen Saturday afternoon.
Investigators need help identifying a shooter at a high school party. Take a look. They say it happened last weekend at a bonfire celebrating Forest High School's homecoming in Ocala. Police believe the guy in this picture went to the party and shot at someone during a fight. No one was hurt.
And the popular online gaming website Roblox facing 2 new lawsuits, including one from a family in Brevard County. The family behind the suit claims their daughter was groomed, then sexually exploited by a predator posing as a child online. Both lawsuits accuse the website of enabling environments where kids can be targeted. Roblox has not commented on the new lawsuits. We begin at 5:30 with some breaking news. Here's a live look outside the courthouse in New York. In the last hour, Sean P. Diddy Combs was sentenced.
He is going to prison for more than 4 years. CBS News correspondent Jared Hill is in New York City with the latest.
Sean Diddy Combs spoke on his own behalf, calling his behavior disgusting, shameful, and sick, moments before a federal judge sentenced him to a little over 4 years in prison, saying he, quote, abused power and control with women he professed to love.
My nose fell off.
Overnight, Combs' legal team released a 12-minute video shown in court, painting him as a family man, philanthropist, and mentor.
This is our 3rd school we have opened. It's official.
In July, a jury found the music mogul guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, linked to 2 ex-girlfriends, Cassandra Ventura and another woman who testified as Jane. Combs was acquitted on the 2 more serious charges of racketeering and sex trafficking, avoiding the possibility of life in prison. In a 4-page letter to the judge overseeing this case, Combs apologized for his actions, asked for mercy, and promised never to commit a crime again. Sentiments echoed in the court. Prosecutors requested the 55-year-old serve a sentence of 11 years, reiterating that he subjected his former girlfriend to years of physical and mental abuse and was convicted under the Federal Mann Act, adding that Combs had already booked speaking engagements in Miami beginning next week. Defense attorneys asked for no more than 14 months in prison, arguing their client is not a pimp. His children and even one of his lawyers were moved to tears, asking he be given a second chance.
Racketeering sex trafficking cases are like fire-breathing dragons, and he slayed the dragon.
David Shapiro is a former New Jersey prosecutor and professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
They, on their own, are dotting I's and crossing T's for an appeal.
Each of Combs' prostitution-related convictions carried a maximum sentence of 10 years behind bars. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Leaders in Palm Bay will now start the process of removing a member from their council. We've been telling you how many people, including fellow council members, are speaking out against controversial social media posts by Chandler Langevin. News 6's Mark Lehman shows us what happened during a heated Palm Bay City Council meeting before leaders decided to get the governor involved.
People made their voices heard with a big turnout Thursday night. Nearly 80 spoke out, with many of them being of Indian descent. A handful supported Langevin, saying he's exercising his free speech, but the vast majority are rejecting the councilman's remarks and asking for his removal.
Let's get rid of this cancer.
Palm Bay residents crowding the council chambers last night to direct comments towards Councilman Chandler Langevin.
Maybe you should stop carrying around your hate, your racism, and your white supremacy.
The council taking up a vote to ask Governor DeSantis to suspend the councilman over his comments disparaging Indian American immigrants. It was early this week when Langevin posted a message on social media saying there is not a single Indian that cares about the United States. They are here to exploit us financially.
Brother, that comment, it hurts my soul.
Mayor Rob Medina, along with the rest of the council, rejecting the comments. Langevin seeming to walk back some of the remarks in a post last night, saying his words were directed at illegal immigrants. But during the meeting, he was also defiant.
Quite frankly, as long as I'm not breaking the law, I'll say whatever I damn well please.
In the end, the council approved the measure.
Motion passes 4-1.
Along with some parting words from the mayor.
I hope that the governor deport you out of these chambers and out of that door.
Langevin was the single vote against the measure last night. The city attorney will now draft a letter to the governor asking him to remove the councilman. The council will also request State Senator Debbie Mayfield file a complaint to formally censure Langevin. Mark Lehman, News 6.
The federal government is now on day 3 of the shutdown. As this continues, how will it impact your money? We are checking for you. Several big federal programs are not being impacted, including Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, VA hospitals, the Postal Service, and the IRS. But hundreds of thousands of federal employees are being impacted. I spoke with CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger earlier today. Jill, we know hundreds of thousands of federal workers have been furloughed or forced to work without pay right now. So what does that mean for them? What should they do to pay their bills?
Oof, this is rough for these households. I guess the good news is that these wages will eventually be repaid when the government opens. It doesn't really help you right now. So until that time, I think a lot of people are going to have to give themselves permission to dip into their savings. Please, if you have savings, this is an emergency, you use your savings. Some others, if don't have savings, they may need to borrow. Maybe you've got a home equity line of credit, or maybe you've got a retirement account and you can borrow from that. But regardless of where you're getting that money, I want to be clear that with any cash crunch, if you are affected, please notify your credit card, your utility companies, your landlord, your mortgage servicer, anyone you owe money to. Just let them know that you might miss a payment or be late, and do not hide, because the earlier you're in touch with them, the better the likelihood is that they'll negotiate with you and give you a little breathing room.
Meanwhile, the federal government was supposed to release its monthly jobs report this morning, but due to the shutdown, the collection and dissemination of economic data is grinding to a halt, which Jill says moving forward could delay further cuts to the interest rate.
Some homeowners in Flagler County got some important training that could allow them to assist the experts with monitoring severe weather. News 6 meteorologist Michelle Morgan explains how those who took the class can now help.
Flagler County Emergency Management hosted a free National Weather Service Skywarn Storm Spotter class where residents can identify severe weather. While technology can help track storms, storm spotters provide important ground reports. Many residents attend to learn how to monitor storms in their area and report real-time conditions to the National Weather Service.
So they'll learn some things as simple as cloud formations, to how to recognize the size of hail and how to use a coin to match up the size, to even seeing things like tornadoes starting to form and how to be able to call into the weather service saying, hey, I'm starting to see clouds spin or something that looks like this.
This training not only helps the community by providing vital information, but also empowers residents to be more prepared for different types of weather.
There's lots of great technology that helps do forecasts, but a lot of their forecasting is also based on validation by citizen volunteers. And that's actually what today's class is about, the Skywarn class.
Are you a storm spotter?
I am. I took it many, many years ago, over 20 years ago, actually.
I am too. Why did you become a storm spotter?
Other than being a nerd. That's the honest answer, right?
So true.
That's a true honest answer. I'll admit to that. It's also part of my job, and it's part of my job to understand. And if I'm encouraging residents to do that, it's kind of hard for me to say, residents, you should do that, if I haven't also gone through it myself to understand what the class is teaching. I think I've actually taken it multiple times because over the years it's changed. And so to learn the new material, it's always good to take and learn. It's always good to learn.
Even though it's advertised for adults, there's no age limit. Kids often join with their parents. The free class lasts a few hours and is best in person to meet forecasters. But online options are available. I've added the link to the story on clickorlando.com. In Flagler County, meteorologist Michelle Morgan, News 6.
A weekly run to honor fallen heroes in New Smyrna Beach. A brand new community event called Stormy's Run was created just for that.
This morning on Trooper Steve's On Patrol, he spoke with a lieutenant from the New Smyrna Beach Fire Department about why this event began and why it's so much more than just a run.
Yeah, September 1991 there was an accident that the fire that took the lives of two of our guys, and that happened at a restaurant called Stormy's Restaurant on the North Causeway. And so Chief Delgado took it upon herself to create a thing that's going to be able to boost morale, to have people involved with it, and be able to like be a part of history, to be a part of something, and also to be with people. And now that kind of bloomed into, well, why are we just doing it with ourselves? Let's bring other people in and invite the community and to be a part of this thing, and so they can see the firefighters that serve their community.
The weekly event is every Friday at 8:30 a.m. Runners, joggers, and walkers are invited to meet at City Hall along Sam's Avenue and take part in the 2-mile round trip to the old Stormy's location and back. You can catch Trooper Steve's entire interview from his Trooper Steve on Patrol. You can also get more information on this event and how you can help fallen heroes at clickorlando.com.
And you can hit the road with Trooper Steve on Patrol weekday mornings at 10, live on the new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com. Still ahead, if you love Taylor Swift or someone little in your family does maybe, it is a big weekend.
Swiftie Madness is here with her new album out now, and a local mall is going all out. How you can get in on it, Jonathan.
A couple of downpours out there tonight. These are going to be fading through the evening, so optimistic that most of the high school football games are going to be okay. We'll talk much more about that and pinpoint your weekend, which will be doing the same thing, dodging downpours, coming up at about 5:47.
And a new name for an old Florida trail honoring a worldwide legend. That's ahead.
And try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news at News 6 tonight at 9. Go in-depth and track the tropics as we answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour early. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus.
And you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. Showgirl Swifties are taking over the Oviedo Mall.
With Taylor Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl, officially out, the mall is hosting a day dedicated to the singer. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez has more on what fans can do.
Today is Taylor Swift Day here at Oviedo Mall, celebrating the singer's 12th studio album and getting her fans ready to see her brand new movie.
Do you want to give it a try? I got it for you.
Whether it's with a sip of lavender haze lemonade,
oh, it tastes good,
or making friendship bracelets,
There's going to be friendship bracelet making all day long.
Oviedo Mall will be an enchanted place for Swifties.
We're entering our showgirl era here at the mall and just having a day of fun celebrating the fandom.
From scavenger hunts to karaoke to an outfit contest, it's set to be a bash fit for a showgirl.
I've already pre-downloaded the album.
Robin Pressey is ready to shake it off at the event dedicated to the 35-year-old global phenomenon.
I liked her music, but was never like a huge fan. But you go to her concert, and it was probably the best concert I've ever been to in my life. It's just totally entertaining. And then you read about her and how good she is to her crew, and just, she's just something else.
Some stores will also be offering a 13% discount, that's Swift's favorite number, if you show your release party of a Showgirl movie ticket.
Right now for Friday, we know that there's over about 700 sold, and that's just for Friday. We're expecting even more for Saturday and Sunday as the weekend really gets going and people can digest the album.
For more information on Taylor Swift Day, visit clickorlando.com. In Oviedo, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Might be a good week. No, but it might be a good weekend to be hanging out at the mall inside.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's right.
You know?
Rainy out there. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas has the details for you as we look at Mount Dora.
Yeah, not a total loss. Again, we're going to be in and out of these downpours, so it's not this steady stream of all-day rain or anything like that. It's just going to be like what we saw today, what we saw yesterday, and I think that's going to continue at least into tomorrow. I think Sunday is the wetter day, especially along the coast. But nonetheless, these downpours continue to be generated by the stiff easterly breeze. The further west you are, that's the theme, the drier you're going to be. The further east you are and closer to the Atlantic Ocean, the wetter you're going to be. It's a live look again with the radar. You can download the free News 6 weather app to stay up to date with the forecast. And of course, see where those downpours are to kind of track them. It'll help tonight as well. As again, just doing a little dodging tonight. I'm optimistic that by game time, across most of Central Florida, certainly Edgewater, Winter Park tonight, just a stray opportunity for a passing downpour early on in the game. And then that chance is going to come down, and then we'll revamp the atmosphere again for a few more stray downpours tomorrow. Here's the deal. Once we get into 9 to 10 o'clock, this is going to be your Friday evening tonight. Just a few more downpours trying to get going. When we talk again at 10 and 11, we'll likely see the makings again off our coast, just like the last couple of nights. And then they'll push in for the morning. So that's 7 to 8 o'clock. So if you do have any baseball practices tomorrow morning, anything like that, some games, there will still be a few downpours around. Not everywhere, but there will be downpours out there. 11 o'clock on your Saturday morning, still a few more downpours. Again, heading to the theme parks tomorrow. Might have to take cover for a few minutes, and then things will clear back up again. It's one of those kind of deals where it's these waves or these periods of scattered downpours. Just like that, 6 o'clock, a few more downpours try to slide to the I-4 corridor. But notice, most of them do not make their way toward us along the I-75 corridor in Gulf Coast. So again, the further west you are, the drier you will be. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Rain chances at 60%. We're back to the middle 80s. It's more like 20 to 30% along I-75 tomorrow. Again, a lot of us are going to be dry, but then closer to the coast, that's what we're going to be watching for the heavy rain potential as well. Certainly the rough surf out there, some bigger waves out there. It's a live look. In Daytona Beach, the Skycam bounced a little bit. We still have that breeze sustained now out of the east-northeast at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Air temperatures in the lower 80s at this hour. Tropical front, we're doing okay out there. We do have this one little highlight again, not really too jazzed about that one, but that is helping to push in some of the tropical moisture back to the state of Florida. There is a super low chance that it organizes enough to be classified as a tropical depression. Then there's this one way out at sea in the eastern Atlantic. This one should bend before Florida as well. We're looking for the brighter colors here, and that gives the higher chance for a tropical depression formation. And you see it working across the Atlantic there, so a likelihood that we get something to develop closer to the Northeast Caribbean. That's this upcoming Friday, so a week from today. But then you see, again, the colors start to bend a little bit. That's most of the ensemble forecast, the different initial conditions going into the model, suggesting that turns somewhere close to the Caribbean, certainly away from Florida. 60% shot for downpours this weekend, especially closer to the coast. We'll keep that little unsettled stretch rolling through early next work week.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, are you looking for some out-of-this-world flavor? Well, you won't have to wait for it too long.
Literally out of this world. Up next, how you can enjoy the new menu now available at the Kennedy Space Center.
And still to come on News 6 at 6, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas has been telling us flood watches remain in effect through Sunday morning along our coast. How neighbors are preparing for the coming days.
Coming up on Monday, saving water and saving homeowners some cash at the same time. The local city considering handing out rebates for people to make upgrades. Plus, our rain chances will be staying high. Your weather and traffic every 10 minutes. We'll see you Monday for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
As we take a live look over downtown Orlando, you're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Governor DeSantis is renaming part of a Pinellas County trail in honor of late pro wrestler Hulk Hogan.
He made the announcement during a press conference at a restaurant in Clearwater called Hogan's Hangout. DeSantis says that 2-mile stretch of the Clearwater Trail will be called the Hulk Hogan Trail, and it'll have red and yellow exercise stations to allow people to train along the trail just like Hogan used to. Hogan died in July from a heart attack at his Clearwater home. He was 71 years old.
I don't think any star shined brighter than Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, particularly for a kid who was in, the mid-'80s when all this stuff really started to go crazy. This was something that was just like larger than life. And the message of training, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, that's something that stuck with me as a kid, and I know influenced so many other kids all around the country.
Well, if you're headed to Kennedy Space Center's visitor complex, it's still open despite the government shutdown, and you can bring your astronaut appetite.
That's right. The Taste of Space Food Festival kicks off today. News 6 got a glimpse of the Fall Bites lineup. There are also special events happening during the festival, including the Taste of Space Celebrity Chef Edition, which celebrates 25 years aboard the International Space Station. Retired astronaut Winston Scott, who flew on the Space Shuttle Endeavour and Columbia, shared inside stories about the food in space.
It's all dehydrated. So, for example, if I wanted scrambled eggs for breakfast, I would take out the scrambled egg packet, and there's just this little glob of yellow stuff in there. There's a label, scrambled eggs 3 minutes hot, whatever. You reinsert the water from a machine, a rehydration station, and then the stuff begins to fill up and expand, and it looks like what it's supposed to be, scrambled eggs.
Emphasis on looks like.
Sounds amazing.
So we have the full lineup of food and events in a web story at clickorlando.com. While there, sign up for the free In the Loop theme park Scoops newsletter. You can get the latest theme park news sent right to your email. That's at clickorlando.com/newsletter.
I think I'm going to pack a lunch if I go.
Right. Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we are working on for News 6 at 6.
Yeah, we're staying on top of breaking news. Stardust Racers roller coaster at Epic Universe is reopening tomorrow. Coming up, why Universal believes its enhanced safety measures are enough to reopen that thrill ride. Plus, neighbors in Eatonville will be meeting in just minutes. They will get more insight into what's to come on the controversial deal over the historic Hungerford School property. A live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Breaking at 6, the Stardust Racers roller coaster at Epic Universe will soon reopen. News 6 broke the news today. It's only been weeks since the ride closed because of a death investigation, while Universal says it's safe. Plus, neighbors in Eatonville get to question the controversial deal made on the Hungerford property. And
I'm very concerned. I've got anxiety, and my anxiety picked up.
neighbors preparing for flooding in the coming days. We have team coverage from the coast. News 6 at 6 starts now. Well, you heard it here on News 6 first. Breaking news, the roller coaster at the center of a death investigation will reopen tomorrow. And just in tonight, the family of the man who died thinks it is a terrible decision.
Yeah, and just the past few minutes, we heard from Ben Crump, the attorney who represents the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, saying, quote, Stardust Racers is evidence in an active death investigation. Reopening the ride before our experts can examine every component is a grave risk to public safety.
But investigator Mike DeForest learned Universal has plans to allow riders back on starting in the morning. So Mike is live at Universal with the latest on this. Mike?
Well, hey, Matt, this is the letter that Universal Orlando President Karen Irwin sent to employees today announcing that Stardust Racers roller coaster would be reopening tomorrow. Now, in this letter, Irwin expresses sympathy and condolences for the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. Now, Rodriguez Zavala, who was born with spinal atrophy and uses a wheelchair, died more than 2 weeks ago after riding the Stardust Racers roller coaster at Epic Universe. The medical examiner determined the cause of death was multiple blunt impact injuries. Now, since that incident 16 days ago, Universal Orlando's president says the company has conducted an extensive review of the coaster, which was observed by a state of Florida ride inspector. Irwin says the ride's manufacturer and an independent third-party roller coaster engineering expert also conducted their own on-site testing. In her letter to employees, Irwin said, quote, our comprehensive technical and operational review confirmed the ride systems functioned properly throughout the boarding process, the duration of the ride, and upon the ride vehicle's return to the station, and our team members followed procedures throughout. To further assist guests in determining whether they can or cannot ride an attraction, we are updating operational procedures and attraction signage to reinforce existing ride warnings and physical eligibility requirements at Stardust Racers and other rides. Now, Irwin, in her letter here, says safety here at the resort is their top priority. Reporting live at Epic Universe, Mike DeForest, News 6. Matt?
All right, Mike, thanks.
Well, the family's attorney is not the only one blasting Universal's decision to reopen the ride. The parents of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala just released this statement to News 6. It says, quote, by rushing to reopen this ride as if nothing happened, Universal is showing great disregard for Kevin's life, our family's pain, and the safety of every rider who steps onto that coaster. We are horrified that Universal would put the ride back into operation so quickly. Rodriguez Zavala's family and their attorney have called a news conference for Monday at noon. We will be there and we'll stream it live on clickorlando.com. That's also where you can read the full statement from Universal and the family. Another developing story right now in New York. This is a live look at the courthouse where a little more than an hour ago, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced to 50 months or just over 4 years in prison. In a 4-page letter to the judge overseeing his case, Combs apologized for his actions and asked for mercy, promising to never commit a crime again. In July, a jury found Combs guilty of 2 felonies related to prostitution. Combs was acquitted on the major charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, avoiding the possibility of life in prison. You can follow the latest on this story on CBS Evening News after News 6 at 6. Now to what's expected to be a passionate community meeting in Eatonville. It comes just days after the Orange County School Board passed a historic land deal for the Hungerford School property.
But the debate over what should be developed there is starting up again. Right now, News 6 community correspondent Troy Campbell is live outside tonight's meeting. Troy?
Yeah, Ginger and Matt, that meeting is just getting underway here behind me at 6 o'clock. The mayor is up at the podium. Now, we do expect to hear more residents' concerns, comments, maybe even some supporters of this new land deal. Now, as we first showed you last week, the city of Eatonville announced that land purchase agreement with the Dr. Phillips Foundation for the site of the former Hungerford School for a purchase of $1 million. Now, that property has sat vacant for years, and there has been a lot of back and forth on what should be developed on that land. Now, the community held, the community held an emergency meeting after that announcement because several council members felt like they were blindsided by the deal. During that meeting, we also heard from concerned residents who opposed the deal. However, on Tuesday, as we said, the Orange County School Board, they unanimously did go ahead and pass this purchase. Now, during their public comment portion of the meeting, members of the town council expressed their frustration on the purchase agreement, saying they were left in the dark during the planning. Take a listen.
I'm not happy with this process. Not at all, and I don't support this process.
I'm not happy at this time. I'm not happy at all, and I hope that this board could make a decision, because it's not a yes for me.
So again, the board went on to pass that unanimously despite that public comment. The meeting just starting underway here behind me. The mayor is up at the podium, so we're going to go inside, and of course we'll bring you all the developments on what happens starting tonight at 10. Live in Eatonville, Troy Campbell, News 6. Back to you.
Let us know what happens, Troy. Thank you.
All right, time now for a check of our forecast. A lot of us are turning our eyes to the weekend. We're all just, Jonathan Kegis joins us now. That's what it was. It smells pretty sweet. Jonathan, how's it looking?
It does. And, you know, it's not going to be a total loss out there. We keep on talking about this unsettled pattern, which we are in, which will continue to send us downpours just like this. But it's not going to be an all-day rain start to finish. We're going to be in and out of these waves of downpours that continues to slide through just south of New Smyrna Beach. We got one. Now we'll try to clear things out a little bit. Also passing through Sanford as well, just to the west of Longwood, Wekiva Springs State Park. Getting in on that downpour as well, closer to Lake Apopka. We have a few downpours pushing into Apopka, closer to Zellwood, hanging around Mount Dora. So it's going to be these kind of waves in and out throughout the course of the weekend. Not a total loss. With that said, though, the heavier rain going to focus along the coast, and we've picked up several inches of rain in spots in Volusia County and Brevard County since Tuesday, and that's where we're going to have the best opportunity for some minor flooding. That's why that flood watch in play through Sunday morning. We're going to talk much more about the timeline of some of these downpours sneaking in coming up at about 6:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. And speaking of that, we have team coverage for you along the coast where people are worried about what's going to happen there this weekend. The National Weather Service has put Volusia and Brevard counties under a flood watch in effect until Sunday morning.
Some areas are already seeing flooding impacting yards and local businesses. News 6's Jarrell Baker starts our team coverage from Volusia County.
Now, right here off of North Beach Street, this is an area that floods a lot when it rains. In fact, I was speaking with a local business owner that said that the water was calf deep just the other day. And also it flooded again after rains today. You can see some of the water that is left over. And that's why the owner has placed these sandbags right outside of his door just to make sure that they're prepared.
The street becomes like a mini river. Down that way is probably already over the street.
Lori Wessick says that Halifax Road in Port Orange flooded again this morning, something homeowners see every time it rains.
Over here we have a seawall, so it keeps it down a little bit, but I'm just saying it's going to be a river.
And over in Daytona Beach near North Beach Street, fishing hole owner Mike Corley says that rainwater flooded the streets and got inside his store Thursday.
When we get the king tide, it comes up through the sewage and it kind of just overflows. When we get high tide, it mixes with it. All the rain we've been having just overflows and fills up this whole block.
Now, more heavy rainfall is on its way this weekend. The National Weather Service placed Volusia County under a flood watch in effect until Sunday morning. It's why he's putting down sandbags and boards to cover entryways to prepare.
And the only thing I can do is sandbag and hope for the best.
It's pretty similar to what we saw last weekend. Again, we're going to see 1 to 3 inches of rain. Locally, we could see spots get up to 5 inches of rain.
Volusia County Emergency Management Director Clint Meekum says that crews are clearing drains, canals, and ditches while working with state and local partners to monitor conditions.
So hopefully it's not all going to come in like an hour or 30 minutes. It's spread out over a few days, and the systems are designed to take that kind of stress.
Now, officials said the best thing you can do is to stay inside, but if you have to drive and if you're driving down a flooded street, just be careful that you're not sending water into other places. Now, also in Brevard County, there was a flood watch put into effect. Now, News 6's Tylisa Hampton is down there in Brevard talking to people how they're planning to take cover.
Several people in Brevard County tell me they are no stranger to bad weather, but when it comes to the possibility of flooding, they say they get that same sinking feeling.
It's the creeping feeling of flooding that has some on edge.
Whenever you know it's going to be bad weather coming, inside, emotionally, how does that make you feel?
Emotionally, I'm very concerned. I've got anxiety, and my anxiety picks up.
As the wind picks up this weekend, heavy rain and dangerous beach conditions are expected. Brevard and Volusia County going under a flood watch until Sunday morning.
How do you feel about this weekend's upcoming projected bad weather?
Well, I think we're ready for it, but I don't know how bad it's going to flood. The last time we had one, it flooded, and we could not get out of the house. And I have a disabled person that I take care of.
The unbearable floodwater Audrey Schmidt, who lives at the Patio Motel, is now thinking about again.
But if it goes past my knee, forget it. I can't stay here. And that's my main concern. If it keeps going higher and higher and higher.
Others in the neighborhood also on alert.
If it's like completely flooded in, then I just need to make sure that I'm getting my resources beforehand. I get some canned goods, simple things to eat.
Stocking up on what they can, Audrey says just picking up and moving is not simple.
I have nowhere else to go. I can't afford anything else higher than what I'm paying now.
Hoping Mother Nature won't sweep away her life again.
I mean, I have everything in here. This is my home, and I do not want to lose it again.
Audrey and other people in the community tell me they're hoping that this bad weather does not happen. They say hopefully all of that just passes right over them. Reporting in Brevard County, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Well, the race for governor is starting to get a little bit more crowded and controversial.
Coming up, News 6 anchor Justin Wormuth spoke one-on-one with former House Speaker Paul Renner on why he decided to join the race.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
In Results 2026, the race for Florida governor is heating up.
News 6's Justin Wormuth sat down with former Speaker of the House Paul Renner, who announced his campaign 1 month ago today despite a lack of support from the current governor.
As Speaker of the Florida House, Central Florida Representative Paul Renner carried just about every part of Governor DeSantis' agenda across the finish line. Now, as Renner makes his bid for governor, the governor he once served is not backing his campaign.
I'm not supporting Paul Renner. I think it was an ill-advised decision to enter the race.
As someone who's been an ally of the governor's, how did that make you feel?
Well, it's not about feelings. Look, I mean, you can't separate the governor's legacy from mine as Speaker, certainly from the legislative standpoint, and eventually I'm confident he'll support us either before or after the nomination.
Do you know what was behind that at all? Is it
You'd have to ask him.
Yeah. I mean, you probably have thoughts. I mean, Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins is also rumored to run and join into this primary. Do you think that has something to do with it?
It could well, but you'd have to ask the governor. And I'm really focused on really telling voters about this background of leadership, getting results. And if you're going to fix tomorrow's problems, which is what this election will ultimately be about, you want somebody who's helped fix yesterday's problems and taken on challenges that people said couldn't be solved, and we've solved them.
As for those challenges, the state's unaffordability is a central focus of Renner's campaign. And like the governor, he wants to see property tax reform and possibly eliminate the tax.
We have places here in Florida that have had astronomical increases in property tax, well beyond, and this is the point really, is beyond people's income to keep up. Government should never grow faster than our income to pay for it.
Renner was also instrumental in passing the legislation that expanded school choice. Critics of the voucher program say that's led to a drop in enrollment and, in turn, a drop in funding for public schools. But Renner says that's a false narrative.
So in my home county of Flagler, they said, well, there's 2,000 students that have disappeared. We ran the numbers. 128 of those were using the scholarship. So it's really other things. Maybe they're homeschooling. Maybe they've moved out. Maybe they've chosen other paths. Right. But I don't see that, And for taxpayers, every student pays on average, taxpayers pay on average about 15 grand per student. The scholarship's only 8 grand. So literally, if a student is leaving a public school of those 128 and going over to a private school, there's a huge tax savings.
Now, Renner is also on board with the state's immigration policy and the push to drop vaccine mandates for kids, making it clear he plans to run the state similar to Governor DeSantis, even though DeSantis isn't backing him. Justin Wormuth, News 6.
Other major candidates running for governor include Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who already has an endorsement from the president, the former Congressman David Jolly, who is running as a Democrat.
All right, time now for a look at your forecast going into the weekend. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now, and you say it's not a complete washout.
Yeah, take today and take yesterday. It's going to be very similar to that, where it will be rainy at times. Sometimes that rain is going to be heavy, but then give it a little bit of time and the sunshine is back out. So it's going to be these kind of waves or periods of ugly weather, if you will, and that's going to continue to work its way from the Atlantic to the west with the better opportunity to stay almost bone dry the further west you are from the Atlantic Ocean. We'll break that down for you in just 1 second. And this is pretty much putting on the example here as these downpours get towards Lake Apopka. And in Lake County, they're getting lighter and lighter as they're going through a lot of dry air tonight. It's a live look with the radar. You can track these downpours not only for the rest of tonight, but into the weekend with the free News 6 weather app. Now, here's kind of an example. This is future radar tonight. Optimistic about most of the high school football games. Certainly, we're going to run the risk of a stray, quick-hitting downpour. Then that will clear out. Lightning should not be an issue tonight. There's 5 to 6 o'clock on your Saturday morning. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We'll have a round come through, then take a break. Then another round come through. There's 11 o'clock, and then a bigger round for the early part of your afternoon, and then we'll get some sunshine out at times. So it's not going to be an all-day total loss again. That's 8 to 9 o'clock on your Saturday evening, and otherwise, again, we're going to keep things kind of split. You saw on the western side of Orlando, the drier we're going to be, the heavier stuff is going to fall closer to the coast. And this is really exactly what I'm talking about. Even though we're on the coast, we still have some sunshine here. Live look, Port Canaveral, Brevard County. We're going to be in and out of some of that, although I do think the heavier rain really focuses on the coast, especially on Sunday. We're back to the lower 80s with a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera again at Port Canaveral. The breeze still elevated out of the east at about 15 miles an hour. This breaks it down again. Rainfall forecast through the weekend and into Monday. Really focusing again the darker yellows and oranges here where the heavier rain is going to focus, and the green represents the lighter rain where we're not going to rack up as much rain over the next couple of days. So drier to the west, wetter to the east right along the beaches. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
But even then, along the coast, it doesn't mean a total loss, just like what we saw today. Although at the beach, it will be dangerous. The rip current risk is going to be high. The surf is still going to be high. We're back to the lower 80s in New Smyrna. Titusville, good evening. We're at 83. Rain chances as a whole at 60%. Certainly lower, though, the further west you go. Denellen into parts of western Marion County, Bushnell, Coleman, Lake Panasoffkee, only about a 20 to 30% shot, where you see the yellow colors again, closer to the I-95 corridor along and east of I-4. That's where we're going to focus again, the relatively speaking higher opportunity to see rain and maybe a stray rumble of thunder this weekend, but most of it should just be on the downpour side. 60% chance again over the weekend. We'll continue this unsettled stretch through the early stages of next work week before we try to get into a relatively speaking drier pattern towards the middle and latter stages of next work week.
All right, don't cancel any weekend.
I would not do that yet.
All right, thank you, Jonathan.
Sports director Jamie Say is here. A huge weekend for football.
Yeah, we don't want bad weather this weekend,
No.
Jonathan. No bad weather,
Come
because we
on,
got
man.
great games. We got great games tonight under the Friday Night Lights. A preview of one of them is on the way. Plus, we're talking Knowles Canes, Gators Longhorns, UCF Kansas. All these previews are on the way. But as we go to break, the Buccaneers say running back Bucky Irvin is out Sunday against the Seahawks with a foot sprain. But you can watch the Tampa Bay-Seattle game right here on News 6 Sunday at 4 o'clock. Welcome back to News 6. So we've cruised to week 7 of the high school football season. News 6 is going to be out and about tonight, getting action from under the Friday Night Lights. Our feature game is in Winter Park. Here's a live look at Showalter Field, where The Winter Park Wildcats will try to pull off an upset. They're hosting those guys. That's undefeated Edgewater. The Eagles have soared to 6-0 this season. They're averaging almost 50 points a game. Meanwhile, Winter Park coming in on a 3-game win streak. There they are over there. Highlights of this game and more tonight on News 6 at 11. But this is the biggest game in the state this weekend. Maybe it's the biggest game in the state for this entire season. Number 18, Florida State, and number 3, Miami battle it out tomorrow night at 7:30 in Tallahassee. The Hurricanes are 4.5-point favorites as they continue their quest for perfection. 4-0 Miami has not had a close game since its opener against Notre Dame, but this is the Canes' first road game. And the 3-1 Noles are going to need that Doak advantage as they look to bounce back from last week's loss to Virginia. Tomorrow is the 70th meeting between the rivals. Miami holds a 36-33 edge in this series. Controlling the line of scrimmage tomorrow will be critical.
They've done a good job. Guys are playing very confident. They've been tested and have rose to multiple challenges of what they've had to face.
It starts and ends with physicality. They get downhill, they finish runs, they run their feet through contact, and I believe they're number one in total offense, and not by a little, by a lot.
It's going to be fun. Meantime, the Texas Longhorns are playing in the Swamp for just the second time ever. Their last visit to Gainesville was way back in 1940. The Gators need the win tomorrow badly. Billy Napier needs the win badly, so can they get it? Texas is top 10, but there are questions about its offense and injuries. Defense has been the Gators' calling card in their 1-3 start. Kickoff 3:30 at a sold-out Swamp.
We are 1-3, and I feel like everything we want and everything we're working for is still on the table. So from every game from here on out, we have to have a great sense of urgency, great attention to detail, great intensity.
It's a tough environment against a really good team, very talented team, a team with a lot of depth, a great roster that has been close against some really good opponents.
All right, will the nighttime be the right time at the Bounce House tomorrow? The UCF Knights hope so. They host the Kansas Jayhawks at 7:30. Knights slight underdogs. They fell at Kansas State last week. Big 12 has not been easy, but that hasn't shaken their confidence heading into this game.
We definitely can do something in the Big 12. We can come in and any given Saturday, we can win any ball game that we're in.
I'm just looking forward to everybody coming here, back home after the loss, and just getting together and just bringing our energy.
It'll be fun.
All right, more news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com.
We'll see you then. Have a good night.
Yeah, they sent me